Welcome to the Garments Engaged Crochet Podcast, where I chat about crochet garments and other yarny things. My name is Michelle Ferguson. I am the crochet pattern designer of Two Brothers Blankets. You can find me at twobrothersblankets.com, on Facebook and Instagram at Two Brothers Blankets, and right here on YouTube every week for this crochet podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you'll hit that subscribe button and click the like button if you like what you see, and then you can also hit the bell at the top of your screen to get notifications every time I upload a new video. I hope you guys are having a great week. It's been a pretty good week here. We started our homeschool co-op classes, so that happens once a week. And it's just really fun. Like, it felt so good to be back. Yeah, and that's about all we've had going on this week. Just usual work, school, all the things. My little guy starts soccer this weekend, so we have that coming up, and so he's so excited. It's great. He's super excited. This will be the first time in like 2 years. So, yep, it's been a good week. I hope yours is going well also. Today, I want to chat with you guys about something that I have had requests for, another requested topic. And that topic is what is and how I design. What is my designing process? I got a few requests for this at the end of season 2, so I thought I would just share with you guys what I do, how I get into it, and maybe a little tips and tricks as we go, or if you're interested in becoming a designer. So let's get right into it. I started designing crochet patterns in 2014. I think I designed, so I need to double check this because I think I designed a simple ear warmer first, which would be the Amelia ear warmer. But at the same time, I can't remember. I need to double check. I remembered, okay, so my first real design that I remember, that I know for sure was one of my first ones, was the Spring Breeze sweater. And that was because I saw a sweater that was like that, like a one sold at a store, that was like open and airy like that. And I was like, I wonder if I could crochet that. So I made like my own version, super simple. I just went with the open V-stitch because I knew that I could do that even if it was different from, the look on the store one. I wanted that same look, like the same style. But I only knew a handful of stitches and stuff like that. So I just did the V-stitch, did squares, sewed the squares together, and added sleeves. And I showed it in a group or something, a Facebook crochet group or something, and people were like, oh, you should sell the pattern for that. You should write up the pattern. And I was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know that I measured how much I needed and I made that much of a square. And they wrote, a few designers actually gave me a few tips on how to figure out the different sizes. And so I basically did the same thing with the other sizes. And I think I just did like extra small, small, medium, large. And a few of my crochet friends told me they would test it for me. So I got it tested. I want to say, so yes, that had to be my first one, because I remember being like, okay, I'll let you test it. And then I came out with the Amelia ear warmer right after, and I was like, let me, see how this goes. So I had it tested. They were able to make it, which shocked me. It fit everything. And I put it on Ravelry per their advice, and I made quite a bit more than I expected to make in one weekend, like the first weekend that it was out. So I was like, okay, I like this. This is cool. And so I designed a few smaller things and just would do designing and making, like product making and product selling until like both for a while. I did that But I got to where I just had so many ideas and I love designing so much, and I was beginning to be like over the whole making 20 hats of the same kind and all that for Etsy or for craft fairs or whatever. I was just getting bored with it. So in 2015, I think it was, I decided to just design. So that was really great. I was so passionate and so excited and always had ideas and was just independently putting out designs as I got them finished and tested. Now my process is quite different because I have more of a deadline. I have more of an expectation by my customers. I work for other companies that have deadlines for me and expectations of me. So I can't just design as I get an idea and put it out and da 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 da. So now my process starts with planning way ahead of time. I try to plan 3 to 6 months ahead of time, so that I have time to make the item, get pictures of the item, get it tested, and get it published, which a lot of times especially for these other companies that I work for, it needs to be ready a good while before published. So that is a little bit different than when I first started. I was able to be like, oh, what about, I could make this, I could design this, and then go do it like right away. I cannot do that anymore. I have to kind of work in an order, work ahead of time, have everything planned out. But for right now, that my process still starts with an idea. Even if I'm planning ahead, I usually keep a running list of ideas that I have for all seasons. If an idea comes to my mind, I try to write it down or put it in my phone or take a picture if it's something I see similar, like, oh, that would look good in crochet as a crochet version. I love that style, whatever. I try to keep like a list. And then I'll plan them out as according to season and what I have deadlines for and whatever else. But it always still starts with the idea. Then I like to, so let's go through the process. Say I'm working on my next fall design, and it's up on my list. It's next on my list. I will choose a yarn and a hook for it. So if I know that I want to make a long sleeve sweater, but I want it to be lightweight because I want it to be transitional for going into winter, but not quite like super warm because it's still fall and it's not really cold yet, I'll choose like a lighter weight yarn, like a sport or a fingering or maybe a DK. So I got to figure out the yarn for that. And we've talked about in previous episodes what yarn, how to choose your yarns for certain projects. And it's pretty much the same process with designing too. I got to think of the weather, the drape, the washing, what kind of washing and blocking and all that. So I'll choose a yarn and then I'll go with a hook. I may be a little bit unconventional, but I don't always choose the hook size that the label on the yarn tells me to. When I was first designing, I remember I would choose heavier weight yarns because I thought quicker. It'll be quicker if I choose a heavier weight. Then I got into lighter weights, and I love lighter weights, and I don't care if it takes longer. It really doesn't take, it's not that much different. I guess it's a little quicker, but I don't care anymore. So kind of the same with hook. It depends on what kind of drape I want, what kind of stitches I want, all kind of stuff. So I will go with the hook. I usually go with something pretty close to what it says. Like if it says to use a G hook, I'll go with an H sometimes or an F, but not always. I go with what I think will work best with the look I'm trying to achieve. So yeah, I had somebody tell me once, like, you can't use this size hook with this yarn. And I was like, why not? Where's that rule? So, yeah, just so you know. Next, I work up a gauge swatch, and I see what stitch. Usually I try to do a gauge swatch with the stitch that I plan to use. So I usually figure out my stitch as I'm working up my gauge swatch, figuring out my number of stitches per 4 inches or whatever, my square, and play around with that just to make sure I have the stitches I want to use, the multiples I need to make it in, and the gauge swatch, like how many stitches per length and width too. Then I make the sample. So I will have the yarn. I will make a sample, usually to fit me since I model my own designs, and write the process, like write each step down as I go. I have a big old notebook of designs and notes and all the things, and I just sit there and write it. Like I leave my notebook on the couch with me while I'm crocheting, and I write the steps down and the counts and the stitches and all the stuff on paper first, and then I will type it up later. But it's all paper and pencil to begin for me. Not all testers, designers do it that way, but for me, that's what I do. Once I've finished and I've checked my fit and everything, I usually check as I go. I make sure it fits and make sure it's to my liking, it's what I want. I will then grade the other sizes that I need using my gauge, and figure out the counts for the other sizes. Sometimes, very few times I have graded before I made my sample, but that happens very few times. I know some people can do it. I'm just not as good as it, nor do I enjoy it as much. So I usually wait till after, even if it is like a super straightforward rectangles type thing, like same, easy multiples. I usually just wait to grade after I've made my sample. So I do that on pen and paper too, or pencil and paper in my notebook too. I write out all the sizes. I write out the gauge. I do all the math for each size and each section and all the things. And I will have a big, it's almost like a chart, but it's written out in pencil and paper for when I go to type up the pattern. So then I will type up the pattern. One of my least favorite parts of the process, to be honest. I try to get it done as quickly as possible. I try to take away all distractions, phone, everything, so I can just type, get it all right and get it done, because that's my least favorite part for sure. And then I find testers. So I have pictures after this, but lately I've been trying to get pictures first. So I'll take pictures. I'll have my husband take pictures of me wearing it, modeling it, some close-ups, some flat lays, stuff like that. That doesn't always happen first, but if I can, I try to do pictures first now. And then I show pictures I make a tester call, whether in my exclusive tester group or out on Instagram or in my Facebook group or whatever, and I gather testers. And then I send it to testers and have them work on it. Usually towards the end of pattern testing, I will send it to my tech editor. I don't always get every pattern tech edited, but I do try anything that's very detailed. Garments have a lot of sizes, whatever. I try to get it tech edited as well. Then I have on my list pictures, but like I said, sometimes I do those first. I take good pictures of it, try to get really detailed pictures of it, what it looks like on me, what it looks like flat laid, close up of the stitches, close up of the trim, stuff like that. And so me and my husband, usually I try to do the days that I film for the podcast, when I put on makeup, pretty much. We take pictures, and then Sundays, because Sundays are the days we go to church, and I usually put on makeup that day too. So we take pictures on the days that I have makeup on. Then while it's in testing or right before the release, I will make a blog post for it, and I will write out all the details of the blog post. Which takes a little while. It's not as bad as typing up the pattern, but it's also not one of the fun parts. But I put pictures in, I talk about the steps, I talk about the yarn, all that. If you've been on my website, you've seen some of these blog posts that just share everything about the pattern. I make listings on Ravelry and Etsy. I usually do those the week of the release, just because I don't want to like somebody to see the listing on Ravelry and then not be able to get it. Like, that'd be no fun. So I do that. And then I start to market it. I start to share it on Instagram. I start to say, pattern releasing on Friday, pattern releasing next week. Share it all over and start to market it and get some eyes on it. So that takes a good bit of time. Usually the great thing about social media is I can schedule all that out, so that's helpful, but still, it's a process. And then once testing is completed, usually testing can take anywhere from 2 weeks, depending, for like a hat or a small something or other, to 8 or 10 weeks. So however the timeline is, we talked about that a little bit with testing in episode 1. Whatever the timeline is, once that's finished, I make my final edits. Once I get my information from my tech editor, fix all that, just try to make it as close to perfect as possible. It's not always perfect. I've had patterns tested and tech edited and still found typos, or had a customer find a typo or a mistake. We're all human, so it's not always perfect, but I do my best to get it as close to perfect as possible. And then I publish it. I put it on Ravelry, put it on Etsy, Love Crafts, and put it out there for everyone to purchase. And then I do more marketing, share that it's live, share that it's available. I usually do a 50% off the first weekend. I usually release on Fridays and do 50% off through the weekend, through Monday of that week, that next week, with it on sale. It's just like an introductory release sale. And I share it all over, share it in Facebook groups, share it on Instagram, Pinterest, all the places that you would think to share a pattern where people could see it. So that's the process. It is a long process. It is not an easy process by any means. I didn't mention this, but making a sample, making a sweater or a garment usually takes me about 2 weeks. I am a size medium, and usually 2 weeks. A cardigan, something big like that, probably takes 3 to 4 weeks. So you got to factor in that. So like start to finish, the entire process could be up to 2 to 3 months, depending on the size of the design, the complexity of the design, the time it takes me to make it, the time it takes testers to make it, the time it takes to edit it and get pictures and all that. I try to do the pictures and the editing and the marketing and all that while it's being tested, as it's being tested, like the editing part, but that doesn't always happen. So it is a long, drawn out process that a lot of people don't see and don't understand, but it is so worth it. It's the best thing to see a tester when your testers make the item that you wrote, that to see that someone else can make it. It's the best thing to see customers when they've made it and they love it, or when they tell you how well written your pattern is and how easy to follow it is. Like, it is the most rewarding experience. So it's a lot of work. There is a lot of work that goes into designing crochet patterns. That is why a lot of us do charge for our patterns, or if we're not charging and putting them on the blog for free, we are making a substantial ad income revenue from ad income. So none of us are truly doing it for free, because it is a lot of work, and it is a lot of time, and our hard work is worth something. So that's why you have to pay for a crochet pattern one way or the other. And that's why if you're getting a free pattern, it's important to stay on that person's website. Don't just copy and paste it and pull it off. Because the longer you stay on the website, the more money they're going to make by giving you that free pattern. So it's a great way to support them. And if you don't want to stay on their website, you don't want to deal with the ads, you don't want to scroll, purchase the PDF. Most of the time, if someone has a free pattern on their blog, their PDF is highly discounted. It's very cheap. And sometimes, a lot of times, the PDF has some upgrades, like some pictures, some extra tips, some tutorials, some upgrades. Not always, but sometimes. So if you don't want to do the website thing, I highly recommend you purchase the PDF and just show designers that you care and support them, and you understand that it is a big, long process. So that is my design process. If you have any questions, let me know. If you are interested in designing and would like to ask me anything about that, getting started, let me know. Maybe I can do like a second one of like how to truly get started, what kind of things you need to know. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. I could do like a part 2. So just let me know. And yeah, I hope that was helpful and insightful for you. So let's get into what's in my whip bag now. So I'm still waiting on yarn for the Aspen cardigan at the time of filming this. I probably received it by the time it will publish, but as of right now, it's still in the mail or whatever. So not working on that yet. I'm really excited to start though. So I figured I'd show you my baby blanket progress for today. Not the worst, but not the best progress. I really only work on this when my boys are in music lessons, their private music lessons for 30 minutes each, so an hour. We're there for an hour once a week, and I crochet. I leave this in the car and bring it with me to work on. So I need to get on it though. My sister's due in like a month. But I'm about halfway because it's just a baby blanket. It's not going to be big, but I just love these colors together. Aren't they so pretty? I just love them. It's going to be beautiful. And that is my Happy Herringbone chevron baby blanket, and it is free on my blog. I will link it in the description. So that is what's in my whip bag. I finished, oh yeah, I was going to show you this. I started and finished over the weekend a Camden cowl, which is this. Pretty. It is made using the Fair Isle crochet technique. I actually did not have any pictures of me modeling this. I'm probably messing up the microphone. Of me modeling this, my original sample of this. So I decided to make a new one because I had the yarn, and I will be taking pictures of it. It's really cute. I love the Fair Isle. To me, I love Fair Isle over tapestry crochet any day. It's pretty much the same, except you float your yarn behind the stitches instead of carrying it with the stitches. So I may actually do a tutorial video for this one as well to go along with it. All right, let's get into my brutally honest yarn review, if you want to call it that anymore. Today I want to review Cotlin. WeCrochet's Cotlin yarn. This is a DK weight yarn. It is a blend of cotton and linen. It's machine washable, machine wash cold and tumble dry low. It has 123 yards per skein, and this is the colorway Creme Brulee. I used this yarn to make my calla lily bag. I couldn't find the purple. I swear I had more skeins of this purple, but I couldn't find it. So I have some of this. I want to make a Chevy tee with this in this Creme Brulee color for next summer, hopefully. We'll see. But I have a bunch of this, and I used it for this bag. This is my calla lily bag, and really enjoyed working with it. It's a DK weight cotton blend, which y'all know I love the cotton blends. And it's just really nice, a nice cotton DK weight yarn. It isn't super soft like pretty similar to other cotton yarns. It So do you remember when I did the Cotlin Reflections? It kind of feels the same, which makes sense. The Cotton Reflections was mostly, I think, the colorway difference than this. This one has a lot more colors to choose from, and I think it comes in smaller skeins though. But I really enjoy working with it. It's not as hard to use and to work with as like a 100% cotton. So it's a little bit easier to work with. It's a little smoother on your hook and all that. So it's nice. It's very nice. It's your typical. It's a cotton blend, but it's your typical cotton blend, but not as bad as your typical 100% cotton. So if that makes any sense. I did wash my bag to see how it held up in the wash. I machine washed cold, tumble dry low, just like the label said to do. It held up. It looks nice. It still looks very nice. It's less soft, I think, than it was. It's just a little bit like stiff feeling, which is not bad for a bag, honestly. So, but it's for a garment, maybe not so much. So I may try when I make a Chevy tee to wash it in that soak and like hand wash it and see if that helps. That soak wash that I have, fiber wash. But overall, I really like it. If you're looking for a DK cotton blend, this is a really nice choice. It has a lot of good colors. I don't remember the price point on it. I will be sure to link it so you can check. But it's very nice. I give it an 8 out of 10. It's definitely a good choice for a DK cotton blend yarn if that's what you're looking for. So that is my weekly yarn review. I don't want to call it brutal no more. I ain't never brutal. That's all I have for today. I hope you'll join us back next week. We have another designer interview, and I will be reviewing a yarn crochet tool product review. So I hope you'll check back again next Thursday. See you then.